Hey Mimi,
Hi, Anant.
can I call you Mimi?
Yeah, of course. Can I call you Anant?
Oh yes. And finally we are here.
Yeah, I just want to first of all welcome you to Mimi Meets. As you know, I'm Movie Mad Mimi. And what a great start to the year this has been for you.
Oh yes. Yeah. I couldn't have asked for anything better. I mean,
Mhm.
as they say, I know it's kind of cliche to say this, but yes, definitely a powerful start for this year, and I'm very positive. I'm very happy with the kind of response that I'm receiving.
Mhm.
So
I mean, I loved Golden because I just found myself looking forward to your scenes because you come across so like authentic and I mean, I felt like I know this guy. Like he's so real. Like I know I've come across this guy in my life before.
great. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll talk more about Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein in a bit. But before that, can I ask you a movie mad question, which I love to ask people?
Shoot.
So what's the first film that made you fall in love with cinema?
Oh wow. That's a good question. Ah, so my dad is a big movie fan, and I think that's what drew both of us, my brother included.
Hmm.
And he would, when we were kids, and if he would, because we are these 90 kids growing
Yeah.
up, and we
Same.
would watch a lot. And that time there were a lot of like I wouldn't like to call them trashy, but then there were so many like there were different kind of genre that was explored, and then there were slapstick comedies. So we would watch all sorts of films, but then he would always come to us and be like, you know what, you should be watching Mughal Azam, or you should be watching this or that. But
Mm.
so yes, I think something that I fell in love with was Mughal Azam.
Oh.
Uh,
Mm.
Without, yeah, I don't mean to, because I cannot think of any other film apart from Mughal Azam which I saw and I thought, wow, this is, I do not know what they're
Yeah.
saying. My dad was explaining half of the dialogues to me, but the kind of, again, the kind of authenticity that you see in actors, eyes and this whole mannerism, they don't look uh, like, I've seen so many period films and actors portraying these iconic characters and from the history. But yeah, Mughal Azam still holds that sort of realness and sort of authenticity that I always felt that, oh, that's pure magic that you could create. And for that time to be able to create something as iconic as that was is
Yeah.
mind blowing.
It's so
So
timeless.
yeah, absolutely, it's a classic. And so that is something which kind of inspired me, or even I looked at cinema from a very different point of view then.
Mm.
Otherwise, it was just a mode of entertainment, and that's it. You
Yeah.
get back to your life. But then when I saw Mughal Azam, I still remember I was thinking about that film. That how did it do it? Because there are such interesting anecdotes that my dad knew of, and he would always say that, remember that pearl scene, that when the Salim is entering and coming. So those
Yeah.
were the real pearls that K. Asif was looking for. He didn't compromise with the quality of that, and etc. and etc. So yes, that film changed kind of my perspective. That people are so passionate and so driven to create a film. Yeah. So yeah, Mughal Azam is what I can think
Wow.
about.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain films, yeah, they do leave like such a big impact on your life. And so do you kind of think that sort of in a way inspired you to kind of pursue acting?
Oh no, somebody who inspired me to pursue acting, or I looked at acting. You know how when you grow up, things changes. Perspective. You get perspectives, and so happened with me. I think I wanted to become an actor, or like at that time I used to call it, I want to be a hero. It's because of Govinda. Purely because of Govinda. I was so mesmerized by Govinda's
I
charm and the
love
star,
Govinda.
such a huge star in 90s. I don't think there was a bigger star in kind of early 90s than
Yeah.
Govinda, and Shah Rukh came after that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so Govinda was this charming man who can dance, who can fight, who can do comedy, who can
I know.
make you
Love him.
emotional. So yeah, Govinda was that one man why I wanted to be a hero, because I love to dance. And yeah, I always used to think that just because I can dance in a certain way and I can express myself, I can be an actor. So yeah, in my head, I was almost there just because I could dance in Govinda's song.
Yeah, I think Govinda is just like, I love the guy, honestly. Like he was so unique. Like he stood
Yeah,
out so much.
everything which is happening is here. I know that they are great or dancer, like they are amazing
Expressions,
dancers,
yeah.
but so much is happening within this
And his
Uh,
movements,
Every-
genius. His
yeah,
movements are just too good.
yeah. And
And
he owns it. I think that's sort of ownership. Yeah, that gave that. Yeah, that was very fascinating. So I was very fascinated by Govinda while growing up.
mhm,
And then later on, it changed. It translated to something more meaningful, and which gives me a very different point of view. The way I'm looking acting now. But initially, it was just that charm, that sort of larger than life. Stardom, that fan following. You always want that life. You always imagine, oh, that life is so glossy and charming.
mhm.
Yeah, so while growing up, this was the reason why I wanted to be an actor. But then, yeah, later on, yeah, it just, I think it seeped so deep in me that I couldn't think of any option B or
Mm.
plan B.
No, and I'm glad you did pursue acting because we got to see Golden. We wouldn't have had
Yeah,
Golden
golden.
if you didn't pursue acting. So yeah, so how did the journey of Golden begin for you?
Oh, it was with this. I think I was lucky to be called by the production directly.
Mhm.
So I managed to skip that sort of like kind of going via casting directors.
Yeah.
So I got a call from their office. Vilas, one of the creative heads,
Mhm.
he called me and he said that I have a character for you. Would like to come and listen, and we would like you to go for a screen test. But first we want to explain this to you.
Mhm.
For the first time when I heard this character, in my head it was like, do I really want to do something like this? Because it was so risky, it was so wobbly, it was such a, I don't know, it may sound very cheap, like the way they narrated the character. I was like, this guy is completely spineless, stupid, uh, completely an idiot guy. Why would I want to play something like this? So I couldn't see that kind of innocence and charm in the beginning. And I
Mhm.
said, I will give it a pass. Do you have a better character? Like I was kind of rooting for, I wish I could get Vikrant. So I was pushing it to a point where can I test for Vikrant? That never happened. But yeah, but I think Siddhartha's conviction, like, or probably their trust in me was greater than anything else. And yeah, and Vilas included, he was like, no, we want you to do it. We know that you can do it. Just tap into that notorious side of yours.
Mhm.
so so yeah, and then we did a couple of screenshots after
Mhm.
screen tests after that,
Mhm.
and then I got it. I Yeah, we were still trying to kind of find out because what was written was coming across quite rude, and he's coming across as sexist and somebody who's body shaming. But to make it a part of his sense of humor was the whole, I think, was the main journey.
Mm.
Then we thought that let's which was Datsa's idea, that he said, I never want to compromise his innocence as a character. I
Yeah.
want him to be this pure, uh, unfiltered, innocent guy. And then you can play and say anything that you want, and still it will sound quite cool. And
Yeah. That's so
you know
true.
how kids are. You know how kids are. Sometimes kids would
Yeah.
come across quite rude, but they're innocent. Because they're innocent, they come
There's
from
a
a point which
purity
is,
to Golden, which I think
yeah,
just
yeah,
resonated so much with me because I mean, he's saying sexist things, but at the same time, I thought he was a great character. And there's a sense of purity, as I said, because like, can
yeah.
we just talk about the love that Golden has for Vikrant? I mean, everyone talks about Vikrant's love for Shikha or Purva's love for Vikrant, but I mean, there's a third love that I would love to talk about is Golden's love for Vikrant. Like he saves him from drowning, he saved him on so many occasions, and
Yeah,
it's just such a pure friendship there. Like he even said, like you're the only person I kind of consider as my family. So
that says it all.
he
Yeah,
says stuff like that, and you're thinking there's so
yeah.
much more to this guy than just being funny.
I think one of the major reasons, because I've seen people like that,
Yeah.
I come from, like, I grew up in a small town.
Hmm.
I've seen people like Golden, that for them a friendship or a relationship means so much that they
Yeah.
could go to any length to
Hmm.
kind of secure that. And which is why what we call now in modern days in these big cities when we live, we call them interference, and don't interfere in our life. We need our space. There's no definition of space in
No.
typical when you go in
Everyone's in each
somewhere.
other's lives, basically.
Yeah, everybody's in each other's life, and that's how they weave that social structure, and they feel, that's how they feel important in that sort of structure.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I knew that nowhere this love is can be called superficial, or can be called that, oh, that never happens. Nobody goes at that length, because I've seen people doing it. I'm lucky to have friends who would go to any length to to back me, to be there, and to advise me, to suggest me. They could be completely rude to me in so many occasions, but I know that
Pull you
it's
out in
coming
so many things.
from a
Yeah.
place which is pure care and love. Yeah, so yeah, that was it from Golden's side to Vikrant. He was yeah, he's the only friend that he has, or family that you could call.
Mm.
His family is his family now.
Yeah,
So
because there's no,
yeah, I
you
think
don't see Golden's family, so
yeah,
you know the only family.
that'll be interesting to see Golden's world. Like I was
I
trying to
would
create
love
that
to. I
picture.
think we should tell Siddharth Service, like, can we please add a
Please,
Golden
yeah.
backstory somewhere in season 2?
Yeah, I think before even doing it, I was trying to create this sort of backstory in my own head,
Mhm.
and I realized that one of my interpretation was that uh, because he's such a outcast and he's such a misfit in the society, the
Yeah.
only family and the friend and a friend who didn't judge him for what he does and what he likes. Like if you remember that small montage scene that goes wherein Vikrant is saying that now I'm an engineer after studying, and Golden has opened his
His CD
C-grade
cinema
film
hall.
theater. Yeah, and I'm super happy, like kind of as if I won an election, and he's the one who's applauding. He's the only friend who's happy in my happiness. So that's the kind of story that I created. That this family and his family and he is the only person who didn't judge me for what I actually want to do. If I want to live my life this way, he was the only person who would say, "Go on."
Yeah, it's so supportive, and I think what you and Tahir did together, like it just comes across so genuine. It felt like you knew each other for years. I'm sure you didn't know him for years, but
No.
like working with Tahir, it just comes across so genuine. Like, how did you work alongside Tahir to kind of make that friendship seem so authentic?
I think Tahir is such an he's such a seasoned actor now.
Yeah.
I could say and also because his background of education in acting and filmmaking, helps a lot.
Mhm.
And for me, there was such a major learning because I come from theater. So for me, every time it was like coming to the main stage and going back to the wings. So I would come with this jolt of energy, wherein he knows how to plan a scene. He's so technical and he's so sound with this whole. He's aware. Wherein I would be just so I had a childlike energy in a candy store that I would just get excited by the scene, which probably works for the character Golden.
Perfect.
But yeah, but I think I've learned a great deal from Tahir. Like he managed to create that sort of a discipline on set, and there was this unsaid sort of acceptance of as actors or as methods, like different methods that we have to approach a character. And yeah, and I think first and the foremost thing was that we had this sort of mutual respect for each other as actors, and that always works. And I think and once you know that this is your job and you have to just do this job and go back home, and that just makes this whole process easy.
Yeah, I think Tahir does so much with his eyes alone. I'm thinking like the way like that scene at the wedding. So I just love the way like Golden is like around Vikrant, and even like location wise, like you've filmed in such colorful places, and that CD cinema hall. Can we talk about that hall? Like, that cinema hall is so cool. Like I'd love to kind of catch a film there. I mean,
I think for the first time for the first time when I saw the cinema hall and my room, that Golden's living space that was shown, was a set. And when I walked into the set, I was this excited kid because I was so happy just to see it. There was so much going on. So yeah, and I think everybody liked that part the most because most of the time you see in the entire show we were shooting in real locations and real houses, but this was this first amusement park sort of a set where there's so much happening.
I I loved it. I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, it has so much character, the space alone.
Yeah,
And
true,
even
true,
like
true.
Shikha, she finds it as a safe spot to kind of hide from everyone. So in a way, it kind of saves her life, Shikha's that whole,
Yeah,
and
yeah, there's so
yeah,
many places to hide.
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. And then you see, like, you catch glimpses of all the films that are playing in the back, and it's just so funny, like the films that are playing in the back, just kind of like catching
True,
them whilst they're
true. I think
whilst what's
that
happening.
all that credit goes to Siddharth Sen Gupta. I think his imagination. In fact, there was this one scene wherein we were discussing
Mhm.
because initially I wasn't sure about these films and I was constantly asking Siddharth sir, can we go slightly? Maybe we can start playing some C grade movies. So and then he said, no, I want these kind of sleazy movies playing, and then but you should be taking them very seriously. So take that thing out of your head because for you they are epic dramas.
Yeah.
and there was this one scene when he's sitting right before he finds Shikha enters and he realizes that Shikha is there and she's alive.
बस
He's
प्यास तो
literally,
बुझनी चाहिए.
yes, Pyas to bujhni chahiye. And he's so seriously, like he's
He's just
taking that
taking it
dialogue
so
so seriously, and
seriously.
there's deeper meanings that he's trying to find out. And that was so funny for me to even think about that. How could somebody think like this?
I know, it's so funny, like the way he takes it so serious, and it was such a straight face. This is like his profession. Is like, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
loved about him. Actually, he's so in his ways, and he doesn't really kind of like care about other people's opinions of him.
Yeah, that was completely Siddharth sir.
Mm.
Siddharth sir, every time he was like, no, I want him to be very serious with this. Because every time my own doubts were coming, like Anant's doubts were coming in Golden's way, that whether this is right or wrong, if I say something like this, whether this is right or wrong. But I think, yeah, writers included Varun Varula and Siddharth sir, they were like, stop thinking like Anant, just surrender to this. Golden is doing it. Only remember that it's coming from a place which is very innocent and naive, and he's just saying it.
They've created such a mad world, and it's just, I love like the whole like sort of ambience of the entire world of Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein. Like, and before that, I actually watched Andeki, and I loved what they did with Andeki. Then Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein came, and I was like, wow, like Sid Sir, he just does so much with like his writing, and he's, I think, the
Yeah.
true definition of a visionary person. Like, he just
Oh, yeah.
creates this madness in his head.
I think the best part about him is that he is his biggest critique and probably the best audience.
Mm.
He would be over analyzing his own thoughts so much that from a very audience point of view, that what my audience is going to enjoy or what are the things that I enjoy watching.
Mm.
So it's a very so it comes from that place, which kind of makes it very I don't know, very interesting and accepting from, which is why all his work is so loved. And
Is there like a scene that you love in particular from Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein?
Goldens
Any,
or
I mean,
any
depends.
oh any scene. I love. I think the one that got me really excited was when Arunodai comes
Yeah,
in the scene.
I love that.
Oof, that was my moment
Chills.
of like kind of sitting in a cinema hall and just whistling.
Yeah, it was such a great entrance. Like, you just think, what?
Yeah.
Like, where did he come
Yeah.
from?
True. And then he has this sort of swag, and there's this.
Mm.
I mean, right after, yeah, the moment he enters in the series, I think there's a different dimension to the series, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I loved everything that he was doing, and even in the hall in that theater wherein there was this performances happening.
Mm.
You see all that he's doing and where all he's
Yeah,
going.
he's
I think
up
that
to
was
so much. He's like doing everything, and he works
yeah,
all by himself. He doesn't have any help. So everything's
yeah.
by himself. And yeah, I think what Arunodai did with those scenes in Ladakh as well, climbing the mountain, and he made it look so easy, like just
Yeah, and also those scenes were so beautiful,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that was the only schedule that I wasn't a part of. So for me, it was kind of, I was watching it for the first time. So I was watching it like yeah, like you would be watching it completely for the
Exactly,
first
yeah.
time. I was like blown away.
Mm.
So yeah, that was very interesting. That was
Mm.
almost like I was this audience and watching this show.
One of the golden scenes that I really loved was actually during the course of the wedding night when they kind of run over that guy that's chasing Shikha, and Golden kind of like tells him off like you're turning into the people that you actually hate, and I like that, and you see kind of like a deepness to Golden there, because like even he says that you're not the only guy whose dreams have been killed, so kind of like makes you think, okay, there's a backstory to something about Golden, so hopefully we will see that. And it just
for that.
And also like when he saves Vikrant at the dam, I'm thinking like, wow, like Vikrant tries to kind of jump for Shikha, Purva jumps for Vikrant, and Golden jumps for Vikrant. So then like I said before, there's a pure love there.
And I think people are realizing it, because I've been getting such amazing response and messages for that, and everybody's like, I wish we had a Golden in our life. And I hope you are someone's Golden as well, and you get a Golden. So I'm liking how Golden is replacing this friend. It could be just, are you Golden to someone?
Yeah, he's a brilliant example.
He's like a good friend. Yeah.
I love the music of Yeh Kaali Kaali
Ankhein. Absolutely. I think it has taken the whole series on some other level. And I'm a very music-driven person, because I love music, I love dance, and that drives me. And for all of us, music creates us and sets such a kind of a particular mood, depending on what kind of music we are listening. Suddenly it helps you it helps you to switch on to something else. So yeah, when I heard music and when I saw it with the entire background music and the whole songs, I think the show was a very different show than what I was thinking that it is.
Shivam and Anuj have done such a fantastic job. I mean,
I'm a big
so
fan.
fresh, the soundtrack.
Do you have
a favorite song?
So in different times, when I heard it when I heard the album for the first time, I think Sakire was my first.
I love Sakire like the most.
Yeah, and then now, because whenever I go for a run, that's my first song in my playlist now.
Yeah.
It's called Monk Theme.
Oh yes, Monk Theme, yes.
And then it sets such a nice pace for me to run.
I know, it starts with slow, and then it gets like more like into
yeah. And this whole sort of gong and this very Buddhist
such a fusion of different elements, I think. It's such a big
Yeah, I love Monk Theme now. And and Bhiga Bhiga was my all-time favorite. I like all the songs. Actually, I keep on playing it even while taking a shower. Put this album on, and the album is pretty good.
I know. I think it's my most played in the last month. Like the whole soundtrack, it tells me that it's your most played, and I think I've been listening to it every day almost. And I think every song like kind of has a different story to tell, that's what I loved about it. Like Teri Bari Hai is just like so kind of like you feel like dancing to it, and then Hamra Sajanya, Purva is done with it.
And in fact, Hamra Sajanya, I really like that the fact that it gives that sort of air of there's some sort of a mystery to it. Like when you hear the music, there's some. It's just not out there a dance song, even though a dance is happening. But I think the Shivam and Anuj has created some music looking at the show and the whole plot. They just created music which is so apt for the show, and it has strongly backed the show. I think the show would have been a very different show if this wasn't the music.
I think so. Yeah, just added so much soul as well.
Exactly the soul we're talking about, and just pulls you to that world that I think Siddhartha wanted to create. So I think it's a great team effort.
Before Kaali Ankhein, I saw your Be My Quarantine. I thought it was great. I mean, I've been video calling everyone, just like Joy was to. And it just comes across so real, like all those video calling chats and not knowing when to meet.
I think the funniest thing of making of Be My Quarantine was so Shipra, who's the maker of and the writer of Be My Quarantine, and we're all, because that was the first lockdown, we were all wondering like how to navigate this. And she's a creative soul. she's restless if she's not doing anything. Like I'm very, if I'm not doing anything, I'm fine. I could sleep for hours and do nothing. I've kind of I'm fine if I'm not doing anything. I wouldn't be even watching anything. I wouldn't be reading anything. I would be just doing nothing, absolutely nothing. But Shipra, who's the maker of this show, it gets slightly restless. I think she's so driven. She wants to do something. And she called me once and she said, and she was the writer of my very first show that I did in Bombay. So my first show, she was the writer, and that's how we met. And she called me. She said, "Anant, I'm thinking of, kind of. This is such a different setup altogether now. Calls were happening, and we were all connected via video calls and etc. I just want to write about this sort of love story because a lot of people were also switching to dating apps because they were bored and they wanted somebody to interact with, and what all not was happening. So that was her driving force of writing this, and how Joy meets, his childhood crush. And so yeah, that was such a small thing. And then we all shot in our phones mostly. So yeah, it was mostly like I used to just turn on my front camera and then start recording it.
Yeah, it's just so real. Like, I mean, like the last 2 years, everyone's been doing that, like thinking, well, and then you have these kind of moments where you think, oh, well, when can I actually meet this person in real life? And I've had that with family members I haven't met for like a while. It's just captured it perfectly and so realistic. And was that you cooking? I wanted to ask, like, what Joy makes all these great dishes. Was that actually you cooking?
Mostly, yes. I think the joke was that they were paying me for the cooking. Not the samosas, though, to be honest. I didn't make samosas. But yeah, mostly the shots that you see, chopping and then cooking and all those things. Yeah, we used to do that. And even though there were a lot of dishes that were not shown in the film, but yeah, we made it and ate it. Yeah, but it was fun. I think we all wanted to do something together. So for me, just the purpose of getting together, work on something at the same time, which is related to cooking, why not? Just bring it on.
Yeah.
Let's have a party.
Before that, I watched a short film of yours, Swa, So Be It.
Yes.
Such a great social message. It was 12 minutes, but it just kind of said so much.
Swaha was very special because also, so I was working with Shriya for the first time.
Yeah.
And there were some really great actors in that short film. And the message was far more important for me because nobody talks about this, and we still have that, but nobody talks about this sort of stigma that people have with associating themselves with families like that. And especially in that sort of dynamics wherein there is equation of love, they love each other, but this one thing where the parents are not taking the right stand, the boy also doesn't take the right stand. And I love that final dialogue which she says.
He says in sign language.
Which I didn't like because I'm not that kind of a guy, so I didn't relate with that guy. But I thought that was such a right answer, such a bold answer to give. That should be an appropriate answer.
Those 12 minutes just stood out so much. Like I'm thinking, like I've seen films which are so long and there's nothing like really to them, but like this 12-minute film has so much in it. Like your work, it just comes across so genuine and authentic. There's a realness to your roles, and that's what I love, like about Golden or Joy or Amit. So I wanted to actually ask you next, like what's next for you?
I mean, it started off with Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein, and now I think right after 2 days I will be shooting for something else which is quite special. But at this point of time I won't be able to speak about it.
No.
But it's very and I would like to do this round 2 on that. But yes, that's again a very special film, and very interesting subject. It's a very beautiful social commentary. But with this intrinsic sense of humor that we usually forget when we try to convey a message. Then that's what I liked about this upcoming project that I'm a part of. Yeah.
And I wanted to actually ask on a final note, like, have you gotten used to like filming during the pandemic, or is it still something that's kind of weird for you?
No, I think now after these 2 years working, no, I think I'm quite used to it now. I know it's quite strange because also I would say kudos to the entire team in the production because they're all working, I would say, physically harder than actors. We do.
Yeah.
But they're always with their masks on and they have to follow these protocols. It's only the actors who get this sort of who bailed out with this by not wearing masks because
Yeah.
we can't work wearing masks. So yeah, and then I think we have to we have to learn how to live with this now. So this is what it is. I think I've learned it now.
That's good.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun. We tried different ways of doing it and still manage. We didn't stop, and that's the biggest learning for all of us, that not to stop, just keep on going, find different ways. How Be My Quarantine happened. Similarly,
exactly,
just
yeah.
find ways to make it happen. And yeah, where there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly, yeah, and that's so beautifully said. I mean, and I think that's exactly like the sort of attitude you should have towards it, because I mean, when it first happened, like everyone like kind of shut down, and then but now I think
Yeah,
people are slowly learning to like kind of live with it,
yeah.
and there's been
And
so
also,
many.
I think when you reduce the drama behind anything, then you see that life is so simple.
Yeah,
You just have to do it. You're doing your job, just do it.
it's
You
important.
know, and yeah, you just take that drama out of it. Life is very simple.
And that's so
Yeah.
true. Thank you so much for kind of doing this chat. I know you've been really busy, and I just wanted to say thanks for taking the time out to kind of like.
No, I was looking forward to this,
Yeah.
and yes, and I'm glad we did it.
I wish you all the best for like your future
Thank you very
future
much.
stuff, and Yeh Kaali Kaali Ankhein too. Whenever that comes out, I'll be the first person to kind of post about it. So hopefully, yeah, we can keep in touch on Instagram, and yeah. So thank you again, and all the best.
Thank you, Mimi. Thank you so much.